Mr. Fett, I do believe that ship's getting away. Not for long.
What in the hell are you doing? Just watch.
Whoa! Like father, like son. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the Bandai S.H. Figuarts Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Yay, another Boba Fett. No, I'm excited about this Boba Fett. Well, I've been excited about most of the Boba Fetts. So much so that I customize Boba Fetts. I build model kits of Boba Fetts. If it's Boba Fett, I'm usually pretty happy. But this Boba Fett right here, this is the one I've been waiting for. It's in that streamlined costume. Kind of a Django in Boba's colors, if you know what I mean. On the side, there's another promotional picture. Comes up over the top with that Boba Fett green trim. Star Wars Book of Boba Fett. Down to the other side, same thing. Unpiratable hologram sticker. And then on the bottom, what you see is what you get. Some legalese, your winning lottery numbers. Let's get this open, see what's going on here. I say as I step back, like in a duel. Pretty big box for S.H. Figuarts. I'm not used to getting this much stuff. What secrets are held within the inner tray? Ooh, there's an insert that at first I thought, oh, it's a background, but it's not. It's kind of a print, but I have the figure. And here is your instructions. Alternate heads that pop on with alternate necks. You got your hands, those go on too. Warning, delicate. Not the biggest fan of this, but we'll see how that goes. Blaster, your blasts. Blast with your rocket. And I've heard about this. We shall see. Choose and attach. Free will, my friends. In action figure form. And there's a plastic protector between torso and the waist. Oh, is that a pull tab? Hell no, it's not. And look at this guy. I'm gonna say it right off the bat, I do have my nitpicks, but that's just par for the course when it comes to Boba Fett. We've seen so many different versions, both in the movies and shows and in action figure form, that once we get a new one to look at, it's like, okay, well, that's different, and that doesn't change that, and how about that, and what the heck is going on there, and that looks great, and blah, blah, blah. For the most part, ooh, this is pretty damn nice. To get it out of the way, this one doesn't use a lot of parts of this one. In fact, if I was playing fast and loose, I would say there's no reuse going on here. Similar in places, but different. Like the helmet. First glance, you would think, oh, it's the same helmet, just painted different, especially if I'm doing this. But no, they narrowed the horizontal visor ever so slightly, and I think that helps with accuracy. Saying that, I think it looks slightly better in the promo images. Like it was wider horizontally and flatter vertically. Also, the dent is different. On the previous one, it was just kind of a nick. The new one, it goes back to a dent. Things like the shoulder pads are similar, but here, this one's narrower. That one's about 480. This one runs about 460. That's only 20 thousandths, but it's narrower. Also, these covers coming out on top, again, galloping horse, you'll never see the difference, but you get up close, this one's a bit more detailed. The chest armors, I don't know if it's a byproduct of getting slimmer between seasons, but you can see that this one is flatter here. This one kicks down at an angle and goes back up. And then the lower parts, this one's bigger. It comes down further. This one cuts across right here. Obvious belt differences. This one threw me. The gauntlets are different. They could have easily reused this, but they changed this right here, and the box is slightly different, and this is way longer up here. Same thing on this side. Different shape to the gauntlet itself, and then even the rockets are different. This one's much bigger. Below the waist, it was different in the show, so it's going to be different here. It's got tighter pants on. The knee pads are closer to the knee now. Then it's a completely new sculpt because of the spats. Oh, and look at that. It's a Boba Fett pocket. That goes back to the original trilogy with the angled flaps on top. That's almost Easter egg-ish. Those dart launchers out to the side, painted a nice silver against that orangey yellow of the knee pads. Fairly clean there because you get to here and you have silver nicks and dings to the gauntlets and the shoulder pads and the chest armor coming up and around the helmet. Same thing on the back with the reds and the orange kill stripes. Clean back plate, but you get to here, and I love stuff like this. That bronzy copper color on the cartridges and this extra detail, they come all the way around. You have the belt buckle, there's more right there. You don't think about it, but that is a lot of tiny paint hits. Hell, getting down to here with this fake blaster and the fake holster, that little button right there is painted. I love stuff like that. Also, they went way glossier on the visor, making it look like glass. I think that helps with the realism too. I feel like the green is slightly dark from what we see in the show. It should be a shade more drab. But like most Star Wars costumes, I'm thinking that depends on setting and lighting. Bringing the promo images again, I feel like the first time we saw it, the belt and the boots were a bit more brown. Here they've added a bit more red to the mix, more at the boots than at the belt though. Depending on how you look at it, is more accurate to the show, so I like that. Oh, and before I forget, there's even some shading to the boots, making it look kind of grungy. Then, because of the throne and everything else, there's this cloth drape in the back. It stays out of the way. It doesn't get all flapped out and stuff. It's not bad at all. The belt does like to ride up and expose this peg hole. I don't know if it's a peg hole. I think it's more of a stop to keep the belt from going further than this down. Then there's also these cover pieces for the hips. Coming out of the package, he had been in the sitting position. So when I first straightened them all out and got everything down, and I was like, man, those hips look weird, so exposed. And it's not my favorite feature in the world, but if you reach around and give his butt a little push, shoo, it brings him back around. So I guess it's not terrible when it's in the correct position. Look, the crotch is winking at you. Otherwise, I'm pretty damn happy. But going over articulation, there seems to be a dumbbell at the top of the neck with a ball down, and the scarf piece is separate, so it floats as you look up. You look down. Ooh, some tilt. Side to side. Almost forgot about the rangefinder being on a hinge. The shoulder is a weird setup. I think this cover is actually attached to a bar with a ball of some kind. You can shift this much forward, and then you get some rotation up and down with it. Then the shoulder itself is mounted into there with a peg, rotates all the way around, and hinges up to here. Swivel at the bicep, but I think it's the elbow that's attached to the shoulder, and then the bicep itself is a cover. Hinge at the elbow goes up to here, and watch out for these cables. They are rubbery, they do stretch, but you don't want it on the outside of this angle. You get slight rotation below that. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist. You can turn, you can hinge, you can go and move it and get it and go side to side, whichever direction. Seems to be a dumbbell or a ball somewhere at the waist. Little crunch, little back, little tilt, rotation. All kinds of craziness at the hip. It swivels up to here and go back out. Not bad at all. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee goes to here. And then a dumbbell at the ankle goes here and forward. Rock all night long. And then a toe joint goes to there. For accessories, Fett comes with 2 fists. Pop those off. A little tight, but not bad. Then he comes with 2 open hands. Kind of looks like you can use them to hold the weight of weapons, but I think these C-shaped ones are more for that. Each hand has a raised guard plate, and you have to watch the left hand because the gauntlet extends out and over. So if you get here and then hook it over the edge, you'll be pushing and you can't go anywhere. So you have to bring it forward and then pop it on. Comes with 2 tighter grip hands. Then you have 2 pointers with open grips that are trigger finger hands, which means trigger weapons like his blaster. This is reused from the previous Fett, but with a whole lot more paint apps. Oh, and not a lot of flex to these fingers. If he's using the blaster, that means you need an empty holster. Like I mentioned a minute ago, this is a swap out piece, but it's not just a hinge at the top that I hate on some of their other figures. This piece on the back stays on. You gotta unsnap this, then pull this off, and there's actually 2 pegs on there. Then there's an empty holster option that works so much better because it actually snaps on there. There's that big peg keeping it from rotating around. Oh yeah, one more bit of security. Slightly over-engineered, which I usually point out as a negative. Here, it really works. But when I think of Boba Fett, I think of this. Looks like this is also reuse of the previous one, just in slightly different colors. It's got that closed-off grip that you can't just shove into a hand. Try this. Go to here, rotate it all the way around into there. Oh. Okay. Haha! Not bad at all. Also comes with this gaffy stick, and there is some flex to it. That's the first thing I noticed out of the package, but that'll probably also keep me from breaking it. Have the silver end with some extra color to it, and then the metallic look of the acorn end. Oh man, that looks beautiful. This does come apart in order to put it in the hand. It was almost like, hey, we know our hands are kind of tough, so here you go. The hole does have a shape, so you'll have to put it here and then rotate it around until it goes back together. I do wish there was a place on the back to store it though. Accidental segue, speaking of the back, there's also the jetpack. Not reuse. I actually didn't realize how many cosmetic changes were made. This time to attach it, there's 3 pegs, and then in order to keep a clean look, if you want to run the figure without the jetpack, they've put these plugs in the back plate. There, it says to pull off, well, the whole plate, and then pop these silver pegs out. These are going directly into a Ziploc bag for fear of the carpet monster. Jetpack plugs there, back into the back. I actually feel that's more secure than a lot of Boba Fetts we get. And it's good to have options. Jetpack, no jetpack. I just don't care for that. You can also remove this rocket, and this blast effect was also included with the last Boba Fett. You put this here, plug this here, and I remember this spare rocket being in Mandalorian, but it's been a while since I've seen Book of Boba Fett. Did he use this again? In case he did, that also goes in the jetpack. But for me, the good old classic rocket. You can also pull the thrusters out of the side, and you can replace them with these thrusters with the effects on them. You can tell these are reused from the old one because it has the old style thruster. Hey, if it works, it works. That detail is too small to gripe too much about. Finally, you can also pop the head off. In order to use the unmasked heads, you also have to pop the neck. I'm gonna put the neck on first, put the scarf down over that, and then put the head on. The print is light. It almost seems like there's no white to the eyes. It's more skin tone, but it's 100 times better than the one I got with the Mando Fett. Before putting them side by side, I thought they shared a sculpt, but now that I'm looking at it through the camera, same expression, but different shape. But that's not all. Whoa, don't you go anywhere. You get right back. There's also this angry head, you know, when he's stabbing people with his gaffy stick or showing people how to ride like a bantha. And I like this too. Again, a little light. The eyebrows, the pupils, the iris, I feel like should be a little darker, and then more white to the eyes. I could have gotten something like this. It's so much better. Oh, did you think we were done? No, no, no. There's still the throne. And this is a big old chunk of plastic. Well, okay, this takes up a lot of space. It's not really a chunk of plastic. It's all hollow. Still a nice add-on. Even on the back, they did that crackle detail with a wash to it. Cushions painted a darker brown. I didn't know you could see through this. I didn't realize that in the show, but that is accurate. Have some paintwork to the letters running over the top. That washes even on the sides. I feel like it could be a little darker, a little dustier, but yeah, that works. And you have the Rancors on the armrests. Those are beautiful. I'm not sure they should be this dark a metallic color with this much oxidation on it, but it kind of adds to it. It makes for a visually interesting throne. And this is one of the reasons to pull the jetpack off, huh? In full sitting position, though, he doesn't reach the ground. Angle of the legs down, have him sitting kind of on the edge. I'll have to fiddle with it. There'll probably be pictures at the end of this that look better than how I have it right now, but for the most part, yeah, it's not bad at all. Size-wise, this Boba Fett stands at about 5 7/8 to the top of the helmet and 6 1/8 to the top of the rangefinder. That puts him right in line with other SH Figuarts Boba Fetts like Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian Season 2. But he won't be standing beside those figures. He'll be beside the SH Figuarts Mandalorian Season 2 Mando and the Black Series Fennec Shan. To compare to other companies' Boba Fetts, even though none of them have given us a Book of Boba Fett yet, here is the Bandai model kit, and here's Hasbro's Star Wars Black Series. If I had my choice of green, it would be the model kit. Slightly lighter than this, slightly darker than this. Medicom does have a new Boba Fett coming, but here is their Return of the Jedi version, and then back to Black Series. And then for giggles, here it is with a couple of customs. My Black Chrysanthemum is looking big, but my Cad Bane fits right in. Boba Fett. I hope to have a real figure someday. So at the end of the day, I am not calling this my perfect Book of Boba Fett, but it'll definitely do for now. I love that this is the complete package. Almost like they did research. They went out onto the forums and the boards and the socials and saw that people wanted this version of Boba Fett with the jetpack and the weapons and blast effects and head options and the throne, and they just threw it all into a box, sent it out. Slight over engineering in places, but not nearly as bad as what we saw with some Mandos. At least here it makes sense for the most part. And yeah, I have my nitpicks. The paint could be a little better on the faces. Oh, the shape of the helmet. I don't think any company's nailed that yet though. But overall, this look, this figure, it works in this setting. Oh, and not to even mention the timing with the exchange rate being what it is. I got this imported from overseas and it came out to like $110 with shipping. So yeah, I am ecstatic for now. If you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel. Patreon.com. Wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Come on, dang it, land on the top.